Hey, everybody. Welcome to Do It Like Danny. Angelo upgrades his storage edition. I'm going to tell a million stories, and maybe one will hit home, and you'll be like, wow, that happened to me. And it's not about me. Well, it is. You know, television is a very, very crazy beast. I learned so much at Tyra. This is real emotion. This is something that I experienced.
I want the world to see what I have always seen, and that is the love that you have for just being yourself.
I love this person who knows who he is, who can make people laugh.
I think the script I gave you was a little bit different, but I'll take that.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm drinking at work because it's my show. I drink on my show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Do It Like Danny. And today we are here at the Angelo compound. We're here in lovely downtown Santa Paula.
Yeah, I just love that people actually believe that.
Yeah, that's my
It's so
favorite.
good.
I have my security guard with me here. Every while he might pop in. Just, you know, I need security now here in downtown Santa Paula. But, you know, Ellen and Oprah live here. They have places here. They always want to try to get into the show. And it's like, no. This is all about my friends and my family. And speaking of friends and family, hi, Cousin Louie.
Hello.
Hello, Cousin Angelo.
Hello.
Again, we're at his compound. Thank you again for opening up your beautiful compound. We love it. And we've also flown out via helicopter to the compound. Kieran!
Yes!
For
First
those of
time.
you that don't remember Kieran, the last time we heard from him, he was shitting his pants.
In Vegas.
They're clean as of now.
Perfect. So if you go back and listen to season 1, you're going to hear Kieran's lovely voice, and now you can match his lovely face with his lovely voice. And I'm so excited that he's here because he came for a visit, and he has reset me. I am bitch on wheels again. For those of you that don't know. Anyways, God. So speaking of friendships and family and fucking, Kieran and I's friendship has been for how many years now?
Ooh, 16 years? 15, 16?
Wow, that's a long
15,
time.
15.
That's a long time. That's a long time. I think I have jock straps that are that old.
I know I'm staying with you and I smell them.
Oh my
It's
God.
laundry day. It's laundry day.
I have to sell them on my OnlyFans site. My bodyguard and I have our own OnlyFans, so it's coming soon. The Do It Like Danny channel.
Times are tough.
Times are very tough. Speaking of tough, Angelo, how have you been?
I've been good. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Anything exciting with the compound? Are we doing renovations? I heard you're doing renovations.
Yeah, well.
I saw you had removed
forced.
some of your 18th century furniture for a staging, which I'm very excited. I can't wait to
It's
see it.
Vintage.
Oh,
furnishings.
is that vintage?
Well, antiques.
What is what is the definition of vintage? Over 100 years old?
No, that's an antique.
Okay,
So
so
you're almost there.
oh,
Well, considering we're talking about age. Apparently, I'm 67, Karen?
so
Eight.
Oh,
I
68.
said 64.
Yeah,
So side note, before anybody knows what's going on,
we
as
go.
Angelo defends himself in this jury of court, as in the Do It Like Danny court, dun dun dun. So
Can you just picture him
Kieran
walking with one of
had
those shoulder pads? Like,
Kieran had asked me how old Cousin Angelo is, and I don't know why. I just went, oh, I think he's like 64. Because in my mind, you have always
68.
been this like,
More mature.
you know, authoritative figure, like very like you knew the ins and outs of
Smell
being
that?
gay.
The bullshit. It's just so strong today.
I think it's your pants. I don't think you watched them.
We're not even down a glass
Fair
yet.
enough.
It's already
I
happening.
That was a brave tale to have
Man.
been
That
told.
was
I do it
great.
for the fame.
Really?
It was great.
It was. And just so you know, today's
yeah.
sponsor is Huggies.
Well, that depends.
And they'll such. Ba-dum-bum.
And that's the end of the show. We're going to leave you on a high note today.
Thank you for coming to the compound. Part 2 coming up in 5 minutes. Oh my God.
Is it Kieran or Kira? Well, now you have
Depends
me,
who you ask.
you have
Yeah.
me confused.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
what are
so
we
this
correcting?
So
Kieran.
it is Kieran, but
Kieran,
I
okay.
emasculate everything.
Right.
And I'm going to say everything because I'm an equal opportunity emasculator.
Okay, your bodyguard is running now.
Okay, get back over here.
Danny's toxic femininity.
It's my toxic. What is it? Emasculinity. Yes, I emasculate. I always say her, she. I mean, listen. Nowadays, you don't know whose pronoun is what, right? So, why not take a spin on the pronoun wheel? It's a there.
It's a pick and
Hello
choose.
there. I mean, if this were the day and age and you were a pirate, you'd get in so much trouble. Hello there. Sorry, I know another community is like, dear, we are.
I'm
sorry.
curious on that note. Have you seen the show Naked Attraction on Max?
That's so funny. It's so funny.
I think yes, that's a
Yes.
Why
yes.
is that so funny? So they
Because
do
I want to see penis.
Oh, lots of it.
I love penis.
Lots of it.
Yes.
So they have non-binary, they have polyamorous, or what is it?
Poly
They
with a
have
cracker.
everybody's included. Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah.
which is, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean,
They,
what are your thoughts on polyanonymity? Or his partner's name is Polly.
Yeah.
We should have an update on Kieran because Kieran's been busy since he was on our show and revealing what he revealed.
Also, it's been a 2-year anniversary since we first had him recording.
Is it really 2
Yes.
years?
It's been 2 years.
Oh my
You're
God.
the OG.
Yes.
Seriously,
Yeah.
He
you
was
are
our
the
third
OG.
third or
way.
fourth recording.
He wasn't our first guest. He was our first. He was our first
He
guest.
was our first guest, but we didn't get to release his episode until later.
Oh,
But you were our
Because I was
first-
on a 1-year
first guest.
non-compete. Yeah. You had to hold that episode until we could.
The restraining
But
order
yeah,
was
yeah,
lifted.
yeah.
And for those at
Yes.
home, Danny, explain what a 1-year non-compete is.
That means that when you come on my show, you cannot go on any other show for at least 365 days. And should you breach such a contract, you will actually find out what bitch on wheels means. Because I will drive to your home and I will get you. That's the way it works. Let's not compete. Yay! Things that you learn in television. Bing.
And this is why he needs a bodyguard.
Right?
Yes. My bodyguard's here.
That or
Just
truly
give me a bodyguard hand. Just so you know. It's a bodyguard hand. I have a bodyguard, just so you know. And he's black. And he's big. Because we're an equal opportunity employer here.
Wait, people are getting paid?
Oops. I mean, he's getting paid. In Porto's balls.
So then you're Whitney and he's Kevin Costner. Is that what it is?
Yes.
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 shouldn't it be reversed?
How dare you? How dare you?
They, them.
Think I'm a man.
them.
So Kieran asked to update us on what has been going on within the past 2 years of his life. The first and foremost, the most iconic thing that unfortunately I wasn't able to attend due to rules and regulations of my
Passport.
Immigration status.
pretty much. But what happened?
I got married.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So last
Awesome.
May, thank you. We had been together 12 years.
Oh, wow.
And it was funny. I always said, like, being a gay man, I was like, I don't want to get married. Like, I want to have kids. So everyone I dated, that was like, I want kids. But I never wanted to get married. And then we've just been together forever. And I met another gay couple who had a really nice wedding. And they sat me down. I was like, oh, what was it like? And all this stuff. And he said something that kind of sat with me. He said, you'll never feel the amount of love that people have for you and the support until your wedding day where everyone is in the same room cheering you on. And it kind of just stuck with me for a couple years. And I'm like, let's get married. So I proposed in New York outside the Today Show.
Oh, you proposed.
I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He had no idea it was coming. It was we were huge Hoda and Kathy Lee fans. So we would watch that every night before we'd record it and then watch it every night before we went to bed. So we went down there to a taping. They don't have an audience, but someone got us in so we could watch the show. And then afterwards, we went out to the plaza and I proposed. So that was 3 years ago. And then we were planning for May 2021. And then as May 2020 happened, or March 2020 happened, like we were like just putting deposits down on everything. And I'm like, this isn't going to happen next year.
Yeah.
So anyways, but luckily we were able to throw a great wedding May 2022. And we just wanted to have a really big party with all of our friends. So it was kind of like a concert extravaganza. Like the ceremony was very simple.
Yeah.
And then Polly
Wait
and
a
I, every
minute.
time we go to a wedding.
I had to interrupt you.
ceremony
it
part
was
was-
I was like
ceremony
it was
part.
very simple.
It was 15
Like,
minutes. Okay, we'll get to it. It was
Okay.
15
Yeah,
minutes.
you
like
weren't there.
that.
Remember, we got to see. We got to see. We got to hear it.
Immigration status.
But we were like, every time Polly and I go to a wedding, we do sort of the rose and the thorn of the wedding, which is like, usually the thorn is always the speeches, because it's like some guy that's known the couple since high school telling a story like out of school that no one gets, that has no punchline, because we're not all as funny as Danny. And so we're like, oh my God, the speeches are the worst. So we agreed there would be no speeches at our wedding. So we actually recorded our wedding party answering some questions like confessional style, and then edited those together.
Oh,
like
nice.
Louis. And then, so that was our speeches. So we rolled those. Our wedding party came out. We did like a little hype video, like a concert, showing pictures of us. And then we were behind a kabuki drop curtain. So at the end of the video, it dropped and revealed us. And then everyone went crazy. So then we got married. It was like 10, 15-minute ceremony. And then we just had performances because we love concerts. We love live music. So we had our friend Betty Who perform.
Yeah, we saw
It was
that.
incredible.
That was cool.
We had, my wedding gift to Polly was we always watch Sister Act at least once a year. So I hired a gospel choir to perform a number from that.
Oh,
So that
nice.
surprised. And then some Disney songs. And then we had just an awesome DJ just do like all of our, we had like a set playlist that he mixed up.
Oh, okay.
But like we were very specific about songs and creating the right mood. And I remember sitting down with him and like interviewing, and he's been doing it for a really long time. He's like, oh, what about like Sweet Child of Mine, or like like classic rock really gets the older people on the dance floor. I'm like, well, Danny can't come, so like we're fine. So we just had a really, really fun dance party. So that was
Nice.
it. But yeah, it was good.
Congratulations. It sounds,
Congratulations
sounds awesome.
again.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
The only thing I got out of that was Danny's old.
Yes, I mean that's all we're gonna get out of anything. 68, I heard, but that's you got to IMDb that for
Yes,
sure.
yes,
to be
you do.
clear.
So I
Yeah.
know that you came out late in life,
Yes.
right? Okay. Or not
was it
late,
late?
but I mean, you weren't.
24.
That's kind of
25?
late.
Yeah.
In gay
Yeah.
man's life,
Yeah.
you're
24.
over the hill already.
Yeah.
There's a lifespan of when you have to
for
come
the-
out.
and just you may have touched on this, so
Yeah.
forgive me, but
Yeah.
did you know growing up?
Yes and no. Like looking back, for sure, there were like hints in that, but I don't want to bring the energy down. And
No, you're not.
no.
We can edit it out.
But I had a little bit of a traumatic childhood, so I think that confused me a little bit. And then I went to school, and I went to a state school in Philly, and I had all straight friends, and I kind of just fit in, and I've never really kind of fit in with the gay community until like I met Danny and we started hanging out on that. But it didn't make me nervous, but I just didn't feel my place. Like I feel like people, at least the ones at the clubs that people would bring me to, it just was not comfortable for
Wasn't
me.
your
Like
scene,
I wasn't,
yeah.
it wasn't my scene. So I was like, oh, then maybe I'm not. Like, so I was very confused for a very long time. And then when I went to Tyra, Danny was like, would bring me out to places. And he definitely pushed me into some places that I would like not go to. But then there were like regular bars where we'd meet like just like normal gay people that aren't like like big and flamboyant. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just didn't identify. Like I didn't have anything to talk to.
Yeah.
People
There's
like
different
that.
little
Yeah,
sects
yeah.
where everyone fits.
And
Yeah.
now I've been exposed to that, but I'm like, when you're coming from like a small town outside of Toronto, and then you're kind of like repressing that in a way, I guess that's lots of therapy has gotten me over that. But like, I think there were just so many things that were kind of like bringing it down, and then trying to find sort of your tribe and your people. And so when I went to, after college, when I started working, that was the first time I went out with Danny. Because Danny saw it. I think it was easier when you're like outside of it and you're looking in, and you're like, oh, like I can see him struggling, or I know like he might need a little push or help or whatever.
Yeah.
And if anyone's going to give a push,
It's gonna be
this
Danny.
one over
Are you
here.
calling me a groomer?
I mean, wasn't that another episode?
Oh my
That was another
God.
episode.
I saw that you were on the spectrum, and so
But how can you what's the giveaway? I guess is a sense.
I mean,
Instinct,
well, I
I
mean,
think.
listen, it takes one to know one.
Got
right? I mean, I think that rings true. It takes one to know one.
Yeah.
And if you are, then you know others, or there's this energy,
recognize
there's a
something.
sense of something that's different, that's more amazing than the normal heterosexual person. You know what I mean? And so for myself with Kieran, so for me, I had learned with Jared Jared was my first boyfriend, if anyone's, and I forced him out the closet, right? And so
And lock the door.
right, pretty much.
Couldn't go back.
Yeah.
He's
And
still
I
in there
promised
banging.
myself that I would never do that again, because in my mind I thought, going back to remind everybody about Jared, in my mind I thought, well, his mom really likes me, his family likes me. This is going to be easy, but that was so far from the truth.
Yeah.
It was not easy, and I recognize that now. Now that I'm older, I recognize, and it's not my place to out someone. So did I know Kieran was gay? Absolutely. But it wasn't my place to sit here and go, oh, he's gay. And let's, but did I want to help him the way that my friend John helped me? Absolutely. Which is why I would say, let's go dancing. Let's do this. And I never really pushed the gay agenda on him. I just wanted him to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And in return, oh my God, like, he introduced me to so many amazing things. Like, I would say so many things in my life that I've done with him, I probably would never have done.
Yeah.
Not that I'm just closed off to it, but just that I wouldn't even have thought of that.
Yeah,
I mean, also, too, I'm very adventurous, which I realize now I can say that I'll do anything, right? And he was, not to, repeat the story, but he told me about Madonna coming. We literally were there all night long. We had a blast.
That's a good story.
time.
We
too,
went
yeah.
and we bought portable chairs at the Dwayne Reed, and then we sat there all night until they distributed the wristbands. Then we went home. I took a nap. He had to go to work.
I
We
was
went
sent
back
home.
to get a new wristband. I mean, it was a wild process to even get in to see Madonna. And when we were there, it was the Roseland Ballroom, which is basically,
R.I.P.
I don't even know, how could you even equate that? It's maybe 1,000 people?
Yeah.
Maybe that might have been too much, right? Maybe.
It's around 1,000, but yeah, it was intimate.
It was super intimate, and it was amazing. And then the surprise guest was Justin Timberlake, so that was oh my God, mind blown. But it was great. It was a fun thing that we did, and we'll always have that.
Yeah.
And even now with our adventures, moving it forward to when he landed, it was oh shit, here we go. And we went. I drove to Santa Barbara. He got tickets to go see Odessa. If you don't know who Odessa is, fucking go find them.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
All their music is wonderful, and if you ever get an opportunity to go see their concert, it is an experience beyond anything. The lighting, the people, and what I did notice also too, which I mentioned to him, which I thought was really interesting, it was a mix of ranges, a mix of people, a motley crew, if you will. But not many people pulled their phones out.
Oh, nice.
And there were some parts where they did, but some people just wanted to be in that experience at that moment. I really enjoyed that.
Was it an older crowd or a younger crowd?
It was everything.
Oh, got it.
And then there were super gay. There was super gay. And then there was obviously closet DL hidden gays.
Which you found immediately.
Yeah, I did. I found. Okay, so side
radar-
story.
He magnetizes.
yeah,
That's what he
radar
always
was
talks
going
about.
off, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was standing next to the most beautiful man in that concert. He was.
Aw, thank you.
He was 6 foot
I'm married.
5. He was 6'4", whatever he was. I mean, I was just are you a swimmer? I was he had this broad shoulder, and let me tell you, he was the nicest person that you could ever possibly meet. I mean, he was oh man, we're gonna dance. He danced. His girlfriend was absolutely gorgeous. This little tiny thing. She was beautiful, and they were wonderful. I mean,
Darnella was there.
shit. Who's that? I don't know who that is. Everybody, you know,
she's
just,
still there. That's
this
why
is
she
a
couldn't be with
PSA.
us.
If you can help us find Darnella, we've recently
Should I put her on the milk
reached
carton
out
again?
to Knutson to put her on a milk carton, but apparently we have lost Darnella. She's 4'2", a beautiful little Asian thing, and She does a lot of OMG and smokes a lot. So if you can find her,
She should be wearing a BB hat.
yeah, she's wearing a BB hat and she has a trucker's mouth. So be aware of that.
Daniel, I think Cousin Louie put out an Amber Alert at 2:30 this afternoon.
Yesterday, we all got a nationwide
So
Amber
that
Alert.
was for
That was for Darnella. So if you got that beep on your phone, it wasn't to turn you into a zombie. It was for you to help us find Darnella. I'm sure, and she's gonna love it too. She'd be like, "Oh my god, you talked about me."
And we're
Yes.
drinking in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, her favorite things.
on a
Yes.
Wednesday.
Her favorite things. Her
Yeah.
favorite things. Okay, in the world.
Yeah.
Outside drinking and talking about her.
Okay, let's go back to
Ecstasy.
the beautiful man they
All right, so
met.
back to the man. His name is Jack.
Off.
So Jack was super Jack was super cool, and what I loved about him is that he was like not afraid to be next to a gay person, because I had reservations, because I'm a bigger dude, and like we were in this like the VIP area, because Kieran always gets VIP fucking everything and treats me so well, like honestly. And for me, okay, so I need to kind of like dial it back a little bit, because it's not about who was next to me. It was about the experience with my friend. It was, driving up there, just the music, the moment. When the music started, I don't know what vibrations were pulsing through my body, but I was flooded.
How's your vibrator in your pocket?
Oh my God. Is that what I was?
Forgot to take it out at security.
Of where?
I tried to charge it. I gave Jack the remote.
We're not going to get through one story today.
Yeah, we will. And so I was flooded with, okay, so currently right now, my friend circle, I love everybody, right? But I've fallen off the path, right? I fell off the path. That's the truth be told. I fell off the path. I'm not steering in the correct direction. And you're going to think this is so cheesy and crazy, but it was literally life-changing. I was flooded with memories, the way that the music was pulsing, the way that, like, everybody was just in harmony and so kind and so nice. And it was wonderful. I don't know how to explain it. And I realized at that moment
Mushrooms
where
are
I
good.
needed to be. What'd you say?
Mushrooms are good.
Oh, I didn't have any.
I did.
Kieran did. I took half of an edible, but it was like a half. I mean, I weighed
Why are you
900
looking
pounds.
at me?
I don't know, because you're on a yeah, and like I said, it sounds cheesy, but I felt like at that moment I had a clear directional plan of what I need to do with my life and where I need to go. And it was life-changing for me.
Spiritually, yeah.
It was very spiritual, and I almost started crying, but I didn't want to be like a little fucking whiny bitch and start crying, but I literally had tears in my eyes. And then Jack like hugged me, because they were on Molly. They were having a great time too. Like, everybody was having a great time. Nobody was hurting anybody. Nobody was like calling me a fag, or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, you had to have been there. Kieran was enjoying himself. I was dancing, like trying to bebop. We had like, a little bit of space. We were trying to move around, and it was just fun. It was amazing, great, and wonderful. And I was on such a high that when I was finished, I'm like, I can't go to sleep. Like, I drove back from Santa Barbara. We got back about like midnight.
Yep.
And I went out to work. Like, I drove for 2 hours.
And
I
the
mean, great
streets-
money.
The streets of Santa Monica.
The street. I wish that's just Santa Monica.
So
The
can I
streets of-
speak to that? I think that is the epitome of being in the moment.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about this or that or what I have to do tomorrow. Or you're present. Well, and maybe half an edible helped. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that's truly being open to the world, and that moment, and being in that surrounding with the people around you, friends and music and life.
And I
Because we so easily get distracted, right? So what a beautiful, beautiful memory to share with Kieran on the topic of friendship.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
And that's exactly what it is. And like, for people that have friendships out there, I hope that people get a chance to experience like what you and I have experienced. And when I told you, I was like, oh my God, I'm like, this changed my life. And you said to me, you changed my life. And then I think to myself, I obviously don't give myself enough credit. I know that people will be like, oh, Danny, you're always talking about yourself. And I'm like, it's true. But, it's all about you. I don't mean it to be that way. But I think in this particular moment, I will take credit that if I did change your life fucking, that's great because you definitely changed mine. And I appreciate the reciprocalness of that.
Yeah.
In this day and age, especially in television, like you just don't have friendships
don't
like
find
that.
them, yeah.
You don't find that.
It's rare.
People that are in television are only out for themselves. It is a rarity that you meet someone that is truly like on your level and truly has your best intention.
Yeah.
And that's what I will always love to the day I die, which I'll probably die sooner. And and that is the intent that there's no malice. I don't look at him and go, oh, I'm going to throw pearls and push him down the stairs. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, you did all that this morning, but okay. But
yeah, we got to talk
erase that
about that.
one.
We got more. There's so many stories. But like, yeah, I mean, I hope that people out there, anybody that's listening to this, you know, can someday find something that mimics that.
Yeah.
And like exactly what you said, you put it perfectly by saying that is the epitome of being in the moment. And I was in the moment. I was in the moment for Odessa. I was in the moment for Coldplay.
Yeah.
He took me to Coldplay Sunday night. And like I said, we went to the 1975 on Sunday. I mean, on Monday also too. So it's just been one thing after another of just like, wow, this is amazing. I need to be in the moment.
But
Yeah.
let's rewind a little bit because we got there and we had an amazing time. But when I landed, you immediately started in the you didn't want to go for whatever reason.
Oh, yes.
You didn't
Yes.
want to go. So
Well,
was the Danny okay.
Before you even landed, I said, you know, Kieran, it's going to rain in
Rain,
Santa
yeah.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to go and sit there and stand and be in the rain, right? And he's like,
will
it's
you
going to be
melt?
fine. Yes, I will. Because I'm made of cotton candy, just so you know.
But and maybe it was gonna rain. It wasn't gonna rain. But I think it's been such a like I don't want to project, but I think it's been such a long time since you've had like an experience that you deserve that you were already turning things down before I even landed. Like you were it's not that you didn't want to go, but you just didn't want to put yourself in a position where you were accepting something because you're a giver. You always give. So to receive,
It's hard.
it's really hard for
Yeah.
these guys.
It's
So,
really hard.
in some ways.
Thank
In some
you. Could we
ways.
clarify that?
Yeah.
Well, I can sit
This
here
is
and
a
tell you that
family
he hasn't
show.
been in the moment for a few months.
Yeah.
A lot of that is
receiving?
just, it's just, you know, financial things and personal
Yeah.
things that he's
Yeah.
going through. And,
Yeah.
you know,
And I'm more than happy to talk about. Like, I don't have an issue
Yeah.
of like, you know, not talking about stuff. But
But I think you were
That's-
trying to get an out, and I said, just trust me. You're gonna have fun. Don't worry about it. Let's go.
and how many
this
times
thing-
did he tell you that at some point?
Oh, probably a lot.
Yeah,
back
that's
in the day.
interesting.
Isn't that
Probably a
crazy?
lot,
Yeah, I didn't even
But
think
see,
about that.
that's where it comes full circle.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
sometimes what we forget that we do for people.
Yeah.
And then when it comes back to us, we're like, oh, but I don't deserve that.
But I'll be honest. So I'll be honest. I think a lot of my reservation too is you hear from so many outside sources that, you know, oh, Danny, you know, doesn't have a filter. Oh, Danny. I mean, well, although it's easily said, people say, oh, who cares, right? Let it roll off your back. I hear so many things, and I'm such an emotional person that all those things weigh heavy on me.
Yeah.
And he's right. I haven't been in a situation where I feel like I've deserved it, you know? And it reminded me that I do deserve it. I've worked really hard in my life, and I am a giver. I really honestly do. And listen, my family has been wonderful. Like, everyone has been giving also too. But it is hard to accept.
Yeah.
It is so hard when people do nice things for me. I mean, my sister, you know, sent me some money because I like, oh, my tire's fucked up, whatever. She's like, here, let me help you out. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, it's hard. Like, I want to pay her back. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you have friends giving me to help me out, absolutely. And I pay them back. And but that weighs on me because I don't want to be that person. I've never been that person. And so to be in this situation now, it's a little unsettling, but Kieran came, reset me, and now I'm like, okay, now I know what I need to do. Now I know where I need to be, and now I know where I'm going. And you're right. The energy is even for David's episodes. They were like I was back.
You're a
like,
different person.
I was a different person.
Yeah, and you can
because-
see it in the episode that aired, last week. You can see it's totally different.
The Julie Chin, J Chin, Low, whatever. I listen intently. You really came across as angry to some degree.
But I think that has to do
Wait,
with
with
the
her-
personal stuff.
Hold on, with her.
Speaking of that moment in time and her and the experience, and you touched on how why now she coming out with this audiobook, And, you know, is it just a matter of her having to shed that time frame or let go of it? But in a way, and I think I touched on this with you guys, you're doing the same thing with your podcast.
Yes.
Why now? Why are you reliving and telling the stories from back then?
Because I put a gun to his head and I said, you better do this.
Yes. So there's something cathartic about it.
Yes.
And that may be, listen, despite her money and wealth and all of that that comes with being a Moonves.
Mm-hmm. Chen Moonves.
Yeah, there's still a person there who has to purge and analyze and reflect, and maybe in some way. But it was interesting because I don't know you to be an angry person. I really don't. And it's okay. As much as you have given, you've been very generous your whole life, adult life, right? Where you could be. So I think part of maturing and growing up is being able to step back and accepting just what you're having a problem doing, and that's receiving.
Yeah.
So, know that it's okay and that you're not taking advantage of a person or a situation, but it's obviously something that it's warranted.
Yeah.
For you.
I mean, I to go back to, I worked in television for so long. That's how that environment is. Everybody is taking from someone. I mean, people network. I'm not good at that. Like, I'm good at meeting people. I'm good at sealing, opening and closing deals. But I don't look at someone and go,
what can I get out of you?
What can I get out of you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't look at that. And
Thank
so,
you.
like, when it comes back to receiving, I don't want people to think, oh, Danny's using me, or I just don't want that.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just go without than... than to accept it. So I guess that's part of it too. Because I was like, I felt so bad. Like, oh my god, here he's spending money for these tickets, and maybe it's best I just don't go at all. That way, I'm not. There's no me feeling like I have to give back. And he was like, it's gonna be fine. It's okay. And it worked out well. And I said, stay with me, do whatever you want. It's fine. Like,
but I remember the stories that you guys talked about on your podcast about you having no money, zero. And he was taking you to Vegas and taking you here and there and saying, don't worry about it. And there was never the intent that you would get something
Came back.
no, there was
And
I didn't want anything back.
No,
from
and
him.
what you got back was an incredible friendship.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Right? So
Holy
that's the
shit.
beauty
Yes.
of it, right? You
Oh my God.
invested in him, and you were free with it.
But
You
you know
were
what's so
free with
interesting?
who
It's interesting
were.
that you say it though. So I have treated a lot of people like the way that I treated him, right? I never had the intent of receiving anything back because that's not how I viewed him.
Right.
I didn't view him like that. I viewed it as here was someone who was working hard. It wasn't like he wasn't working. He wasn't being lazy. He was a good worker. He was a good kid. They're all kids in my eyes. He was a good kid. So here was someone
Except
like
me.
me who I was in a
68.
position. I know, except for you, your dad. Except I was in a position where it was a drop in the bucket for me. I was making so much money. Why wouldn't I want his experience to be wonderful, amazing, and great? And even when we were in the dance floor that night, and I found the money, and I was like,
Get down on the floor.
I screw him on the floor. I let him keep it all
those
because I was
money
like,
machines.
you keep it. you keep it. That's all.
You got
for
30
me.
seconds. I'm like, stuff in it. And he's blowing on it.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
The money. He was blowing on the money.
Right.
And also too, like people be like, oh, because gays. Excuse me, gays are so fickle and crazy. And like, oh, Danny and Karen are fucking, or Danny likes Karen. It was nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's not. It was like a little brother that like I never had. Like for me, it's always going to be a substitute for family. David is. Although I'm not his, no, David is like the son that I wish
the
that I
son,
had,
right.
right? And Karen is like the brother that I wish I had. And Bill, my other good friend Billy in Palm Springs, like he's definitely like the bigger brother that I never had. And maybe one day we'll have him on the show, but he's another person like going over friends, and that's another amazing friendship that like I hope everybody gets to experience that. I mean, he taught me so much and showed me so much, him and his wife. And so, going back to friendships, you're right. This is an amazing friendship. I wouldn't trade it for anything at all whatsoever, except maybe my bodyguard. But, I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for this moment. I'm so grateful that he can take the time out of his busy schedule of being,
Oh, boy.
he's also an amazing producer. And can we say what you work for, right?
Sure, yeah.
He works in the Today Show.
Yeah.
And we're so happy.
Congratulations.
He has made a
is that?
name for himself, and his career is not done.
Yeah.
Like, he's only going to go bigger, better, faster, stronger, because that's who he is. And that's what I love about him. I love that. I love that for you.
That was really sweet. Thank you. But I think everything you just said speaks to character, and you have a lot of it. In the best
Calling
way.
me fat?
Yes. Character reads. And there was something you said to me that specific Vegas trip. I mean, you were generous. Like when we go to the bar, even in West Hollywood, you're like, "What are you drinking? I'm getting around." Like it was never transactional. It was just like, we're out here to have a good time. What do you need? We'll get this. But there was something in that Vegas trip that I never forgot, and I've actually said it multiple times to many people that are much younger than me that I've taken out. And you said, "Listen, don't worry about anything. I'm here. But at some point in your life, you are going to be extremely successful, and all I ask is that you pay it forward."
Yeah,
that
pay it forward.
That. And that's what he did, and I've done that many, many times because it always stuck with me. That's all you asked. You weren't keeping like a little tally or a tab and being like, well, like, when you get your first paycheck, you can pay me back. Because some people would do that. They'd just be like, and not in like in a mean way, just be like, when you have some money, you'll send it back to me. He was never looking for money back.
Yeah.
You just like pay it forward.
Yeah.
Just there's gonna be a time where you're out with some friends and there's one person that's struggling or can't afford something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've done that many, many times, and I've told the people that I've helped the same thing you told me, and I'm
And
like,
you
listen,
hope
one
that
time they'll just pay it forward, and I think they will. I really do. I think they will. So you've sort of started that. Not that the pay it forward is like anything.
So when I die, you have to tell that story at my funeral.
Well, we're gonna have to play all these episodes.
Yeah.
Gotta let all the
I'm
seasons.
still on a
I'm going to
non-compete,
record
so-
a funeral episode, just so you know.
Oh no!
The episode that will play at my funeral, and I'll be like, "Hi!" from the coffin. Like, thank you all for
Cry the
coming.
Argentina over here.
If you're watching this, I'm dead.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
and I'm glad you're here. We have Portos. My bodyguard will serve you all.
So can I just go back to something
I'm
you
sorry,
touched
yes.
on earlier about friendships and working in the industry? So as I've shared before, I worked for Park Overall, who we can probably get on the line, Louis, to say hi. And
My facts?
because that is one of my dearest friends today. Yes. And I worked for her from 2000 to 2007. And literally to this day, we're in touch regularly. And she's considered like one of my family members. She's one of my dearest friends. And she's loyal to the core. And it has to do with the entire time that I worked for her, she was super respectful and towards me. She could be a bitch to everybody else and, rip people apart, but never to me. She never crossed that line. And my whole family knows her when I talk about that. My mother, my sister, and their kids. And she truly is a great influence to have in my life to this day. So I'm lucky enough to have had somebody who was in the industry, who I consider a dear friend now in a very sincere way. There's nothing to be gained other than our friendship. But we have your bodyguard is another friend of mine and ours. So, there's different levels of friendship, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's all very beautiful if you appreciate it and you celebrate it. And and I'm not saying you're down on your luck, but when circumstances change and you can no longer be that super giver, I'm in that same situation myself, then it's really interesting to see who sticks around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you really know, were they there because I was providing or were they really my friends?
Yeah.
So, and
for me,
friendships
it's
are
my
tested.
family. My family's always supported me. Everybody's always supported me.
Oh,
And
well, I'm
definitely,
just a
so
big
Kieran's in my
fan.
family.
Yeah.
Kieran's a part of that family.
But isn't it nice to have a place where you just feel safe and comfortable to just be yourself?
Oh my God,
It's
totally.
no pretense. It's no, I have to entertain this person or be responsible for them having a good time. You just are, again, in the moment, and you can feel free enough to be you with Jack Off.
Kindred spirits.
And his girlfriend
spirits.
on ecstasy.
Am-
and
Amrata.
Kieran on the next. But
was
no, in all
great.
seriousness, I think you can tell how at ease you guys are with each other.
He's great. Going back to you though, I think what the number one thing I've always envied about you, and I always use the word envy, or that I love and I celebrate, is that you have met so many people. I don't have that. Like, I don't have that talent. I meet people and you either love me or you don't.
Yeah.
But everybody loves you, right? They just love but you're so good because you remember things about people, and then the way you network. Like,
Yeah,
I
you
wish I
network
had
really,
that.
really well.
You network so well. Like, honestly, like, you should teach classes because you are like, oh, this is so and so, and blah 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 blah, and like just the way you rattle off their pedigree and the way you remember things and the way that you connect people. Like, Kat, I text.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you
Oh, yeah.
connected us together, and
Yep.
she's wonderful.
Yep.
Like, all the people
She
that
watches.
oh,
That's good.
hi
She
Kat.
does. Yeah.
Hi Kat. So I'm looking at the wrong camera. So it's so nice to be in an environment where you I think are really super smart. You've surrounded yourself with a tribe of people that adore you, including your family also too. I mean, listen, there's ups and downs and everything. Nothing is ever perfect, and that's also been another thing for me to kind of grasp, because Kieran's been here and I just want to be perfect for him, and I never realized how much soda fountains he loved.
I love a fountain soda.
We're like driving, he's like, can we pull over? And I'm like, what's going on? Are you sick? What's happening? You gotta like, no, I want a soda fountain. And I'm like,
So do
okay.
you carry the big gulp cup? Not quite.
It's like not quite the
Okay.
big
It could
dog,
be
but it's a
anywhere.
good size. It's a good size.
Any type of fountain soda. We were leaving Disney and he was like, I need a fountain soda. And I'm like, okay.
That's weird.
Like a little kid.
And
Yeah.
that's
Which, by the
friendship.
way, you didn't get my rider.
Yeah. So we were talking about winning the lottery. Like, if we win the lottery, I'm like, I'm going to put you a fucking soda fountain in the goddamn house.
It's like hack. That's the dream.
So, going back to you, again, thank you for opening up the compound because your home is beautiful. We do love coming out here all the way to Santa Paula. It's a drive.
People have asked, do you really live in Santa Paula? And I say yes.
And the answer is yes.
Listen,
absolutely.
gas
I've
is
moved.
$10 a gallon, but we had no problem throwing it in my gas guzzler and driving up here. So just know that you're loved.
Well, all of that is unbelievable that you just said that because, I just am who I am. But I always get a kick out of putting people together.
Yeah.
You're good at that.
Yeah. I love that.
You're
I
really
love
good.
kind
You're
of-
you're so good at that. You're good at, like I said, surrounding yourself. And I think I was telling somebody, one of you, I was like, fucking Angela was like so good at that. I wish I had that instinct. See, I meet people, and because I'm so afraid to receive, I don't look at them as transactional. I'm not saying that you do, but I'm just saying you look at it in such a different way. Like, this person sells eggs and this person's a farmer, and I'm going to connect them together. Like, it's that kind of, you're not being selfish for you.
Oh, no.
Has nothing to do with you at all.
No.
You are like, Danny needs a bodyguard. Hi. This is Danny's bodyguard.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's the way that you think, and I enjoy that, and I take lessons from that because I'm trying to be more like that. Like, when I meet people, great, how can I connect them together? Because I'm not like that.
Yeah.
I shut myself off. I don't want people to think that I'm only there to use them. I don't want to have that, like, that transactional feeling.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not that person.
Yeah.
And I'm shell-shocked because I experience it on a daily basis in my job at Sehabla that, it stays with you. And I'm trying to relearn. I'm trying to heal. And going back to what you said about the whole Julie thing, yeah, there's some anger there because there's also some more stories that I haven't told quite just yet that are eventually going to come because we're eventually going to get into the meat of it. Why I left Sehabla, my uncoupling with them, and I'm okay now saying I got fired. Like,
Yeah.
welcome to television, right? I'm okay saying that now, but it's been a process.
Yeah.
It's just like when I worked at the Cheesecake Factory. I thought Cheesecake Factory was the end all. I thought, oh, I'm going to be a manager. I'm going to get a BMW every single year and blah, 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 blah. And they wanted nothing to do with me.
I think that's one of the things of us being in television and coming from the world of storytelling, that we don't want to give the power of storytelling to someone else to create that narrative about us. So when you are having issues like leaving the talk, whatever happened,
Yeah.
your mind automatically goes to that place. Well, what is this person going to say, think, do, all of that? And that's what I experienced.
And fortifying what you said, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. I worried so much when I left the talk that, like, oh my God, these people are going to, but it's what you said. And that is, now is the time to figure out who your friends were and who your family is.
And you'll never be able to control what other people are saying about you or what their narrative about how you left. You have to let that go.
Yeah.
So the second you let that go, and like I went through that at Tyra because I knew I was standing up for what I believed was right. And I stick to that. And I don't care if other people don't agree with that. Would I have done it the same way? No, I was young and I was like, these are my morals. These are my values. So I decided to leave on a very like dramatic, but in a very like forceful way.
Yeah.
Because I was so bound to my morals. Now, would I still have left? Probably, but I would have been a little bit more. I probably would have heard
Calculated about it.
Yeah. And so you can't let these people that you used to work with, friends, not friends, whatever, create this narrative about you. And I think that will come circle into the sort of the networking of it all. Because like my big thing was when I left there, I started saying things out loud. Like I didn't care if they were like, well, we didn't really like him at Tyra or he left Tyra, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, I still want to do other things. And I'm going to let everyone I meet know that I want to do those things because who knows who another Angelo out there might be like, oh, because I heard Kieran say this and I know this person is looking for a producer, I'm going to put them together.
Yeah.
So you have to stop being in your head, being in your apartment, and go out and meet people because you're very, very, very charismatic and likable when you meet people. But now you have to start saying what you want too. It's not just, hey, let's have a good time and dance. It's like, oh, you know what? I really want to get into TV again. Or you know what? Maybe I don't want to do audience, but I want to do integrations like you were doing before. Or maybe you want to do talent booking. Who knows what you want to do in TV? But I think you need to start saying that stuff out loud because you'll never know who could connect you like Angela.
Yeah.
I agree, and you're right. You're totally right. I mean, listen, it has been a process. And are there, closet listeners, people from the show that still listen? Absolutely, because they're waiting to hear what's going to come out of my mouth.
What's going to be said about them?
I think the part, and I'll just be real, I think the thing that's always going to kind of hurt me a little bit is for as much bark and as much shit as I gave people, I would have done anything for them. And I think that's the part that kind of hurts me a little because they didn't care. And I cared. I really cared. I was an asshole to some, and I have to accept my responsibility in it. And then I was really nice to some others. And once I left the show, my uncoupling, if you will, it was really interesting to see who reached out to say, hey, we just heard. And it was interesting to hear nothing from some people. And I think the part that spoke the most volumes are the people that didn't say anything. And to me, that hurt because for whatever, interactions that we may or may not have had, I still cared at the end of the day. I still care. I will always care for those people. But I wasn't given that chance. And I think that's the part that I'm going to have to heal from. Is there a little anger there for stories coming up? Yeah, but as I tell more and more, it gets easier and easier, and I do let it go.
That's what I was going to bring up because, sitting across from you, I didn't find it that, you're being negative or angry about it, but when you have to bring these stories back up, of course it's going to bring those negative feelings again, right? I mean, I'm sure when you go back and think about what it was like for you at Tyra, you're like, oh, I remember being angry. So for him, I get it. Yeah. I don't call him out on it because it's not really my place. It's his place to get it out. And that's why I wanted to create this platform because I could tell as he was just going about his life, it was just eating at him and eating at him and eating at him. And you want to talk about not being yourself just a few months ago. I mean, for 2 years you weren't yourself.
Yeah.
And throughout starting this show, even from the episodes that we started and never aired, it was like night and day.
Yeah.
It's really night and day. I mean, I listened to those
early episodes were good. So
yeah, no, they're
relax.
good. but I mean, we've evolved.
No,
we've
it's great.
changed.
Totally.
There's
Absolutely.
so many different
Absolutely.
elements to this thing, and a lot of that is what he's taught me, and a lot of that is what I've brought and learned from him, and think just everything. And brought Angelo and Darnella and you,
want
everything.
This to be very salacious. Like I know it's kind of turned into that a couple of times because it was the truth. I mean,
But
people could say,
that's
"Oh,
what I
you're
loved about
telling
it.
these stories," but it's like this is what I experienced.
Yeah.
This is what happened. It's not a lie. This is truth. I actually was in this particular meeting where this came out of somebody's mouth.
And you have the proof, you have the receipts, and that's what I love about it because nobody can say, oh, that's full of shit. No, we're going to bring people on so that they can tell their stories so that if this show goes nowhere, at least it's the truth.
Yeah.
at least people can hear it and go, oh, that was real.
So without interrupting you, and I'm sorry I did
No,
that,
go ahead.
but that's so maybe I misspoke. I loved the passion that was behind
no,
the storytelling.
You didn't misspeak.
No, but
that was
you know,
your point of view.
But there's also something coming. There's something healing about that for you, right?
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
it's cathartic, like everybody knows. But there's something you're releasing it, and just to touch on what you were saying, a person's opinion of you doesn't make it so.
Yeah.
Correct.
What your thought about me doesn't determine my value.
Exactly.
Yes, but in television, and I'm not trying to interrupt you,
no.
I'm sorry, but in TV, when you're in that vicious circle,
Oh, yeah.
you're led to believe that what you wear, what you eat. I mean, listen, I've said this before. I had 2 little assistants that would eat a potato, like a sweet potato for lunch, and that's all they ate. And it was just like, I'm going to go out to lunch. I'm going to eat. I'm going to enjoy my life. Like, I'm not here to present and be this fake person. Like,
But I appreciate that more because so many people in Hollywood are fake. And I think, the thing we love about, and I think I've said this before, but it bears repeating. The thing we like about somebody like a Joan Rivers, she just speaks it the way she sees it. And people are offended or they're not. But I love the fact that you just say what's on your mind.
Yeah.
I would rather have that than not know what you're thinking and then stuff is said behind my back.
Yeah.
Those are...
Yeah.
the
and that's
people
one
have to
thing you
watch
can never
out
accuse
for.
me of. You can never say, "Oh, he talked behind my back."
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I didn't.
No.
Bitch,
Well,
I told you right to your face.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, you want to hear it again? Let me tell you right to your face.
It's
And
like
I did.
They
Yeah,
they
and I have.
smile in front of you and they stab you from behind.
Yeah.
You have to be careful with those people. And I think it's really unfortunate that that there weren't more relationships maintained for your sake, because it's all in that industry. It's about who you know, right?
Yes.
Like the next job is Whisper and it's somebody I know, like people connecting. That's how you come about a lot of these positions.
I think, to be honest, I think at that point in the talk, I was just so frustrated. And so here's my problem. And I'm going to say this is a problem. My problem is that I am so loyal that if I were on the Titanic, I would have been there.
You would have been saving everybody.
I would have been saving it with like a cup and just trying to bail the water out, right? But you knew the ship was sinking. You knew, right? You know, like, Danny, you got to go. Nope, I can save us. I can save us,
yeah.
right? And that's how I approached it at the talk. I knew it was a horrible environment. I got promoted and it was the worst thing ever for me, right? And I was just like trying to save. The writing was on the wall. The writing was on the wall. And it wasn't that I couldn't do the job. I was great at the job, but it wasn't a great show for me.
Yeah.
And I think that is where it comes into play now. It's like, well, what show is there now? What do I do now? Do I even want to go back into TV? And I'm like you said, I have to say now what I want to do. Do I want to be something big, amazing, incredible? Absolutely. If it's going to be via this show, great. Listen, I'm going through my trials and tribulations now. Is it working for Disney or for Universal or something where I will get to meet people again and create this amazing, fun energy? Because I'm older. I've changed. That hell bitch on wheels exists, very small, a little piece of her in the back. But now it's about trying to get people to understand that no matter what happens, and you can ghost people, you can do whatever you want to do, we're still all connected.
Yeah.
We are still all connected. And that was the going back to the Odessa concert, that is what was flooding my mind. I was flooded with like, fuck, I'm still connected. I will never be, I'm not free in a negative way. So I have to figure out a way to adapt to that. Yeah. These people imparted whatever they did, whether positive or negative, in my life. A lot of them did. I refer back to the great days of working at Tyra, where it's interesting because, he didn't have such a great time at Tyra,
Yeah.
whereas I did.
I had a good time in a lot of ways, and a great time. It was very. I just there was one situation that happened, and
Yeah.
and it was a lot of work. Working on that show was a lot of work,
Yeah.
as any daytime show. And you've heard the stories come out recently of other shows.
Oh,
that
yeah.
are thing. And I'm not saying that their stories aren't valid or that, but it's a lot of work, and I think some people are not ready for
They're not
that amount of
equipped,
work.
yeah.
They're not equipped, and it's a shock to them. And they think, I'm going to work on this high-profile show with these big stars, and it's going to be glamorous and that, and it can be
not.
sometimes, but it's not a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's work, and there was a lot of work at Tyra, and I put in a lot of hours at Tyra, and I was like running up and down the subway stairs with computers, bringing them from one office to another. Like, it was not glamorous, and it was a lot of work, and I was young, but I really, really did enjoy my time there. But when you have executives that are like trying to squeeze every penny out of every PA that's not making a lot of money, saying, oh, well, like, we're not going to pay you this overtime, but we'll pay you this overtime. That's what hurt. Because I'm like, I'll put in the work, but I want to be compensated for it. And so that was sort of where the disconnect for me was. But I want to go back to something you were saying, not only about like speaking it out loud, but I think the narrative of what you think people are saying about you at the talk is in your head. And I think you need to create space for some of those people to come back in. And like, some people are just quiet. Some people are like, oh, you're leaving. He needs some time to kind of process this and figure things out.
It's been 5 years.
But I think you gotta like let that door be open to
Yeah.
like reconnecting. Because I think there were some probably good friendships that they didn't know. Like, I've left jobs before and people didn't talk, and I had to reach out to them and be like, hey, they're like, yeah, we just wanted to make sure you were okay, but give you space. Because that's how because we're high energy people a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of when something bad happens, they're like, okay, well, we're just going to give him some space
Yeah.
while because like, it's a very emotional time. And you know how you operate when you're very emotional.
I'm
It's
very emotional.
yeah. So I don't know. I want, like, I'm sure there's a couple people there that were not great people that you no longer want in your life. But I think you've got to like hold a little bit of space, because I don't think everyone there was awful.
Yeah, you're right. Not everyone there was awful.
And we've met a couple.
We've met a
had him
couple.
on the
Yeah,
show, or if
there
he's
was
been on
some.
their show.
Having David back, last week was definitely. I was flooded with a lot of memories.
Yeah.
It's the way like you were just talking about Tyra. Like, I think I'm zoning off, but I'm not zoning off. I'm just being flooded with all those memories because I forget. I forget. And what's crazy is, like, by just you saying what little bit that you've said, and it's a little bit compared to the iceberg, what little bit that you said, it's like, wow, holy shit, we did so much. And then we've done so much together, even as friends. And then, like, I did so much at the talk. Not saying that I was the person that ran the show. Everybody did. Just like you said, everybody works hard.
Yeah.
Everybody has shit to do at some different level and a boss to answer to. But to go back again, what I was saying about, Angelo and, like, these connections and what we're doing, the one thing about me is I'm just loyal to a fault.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I will never know when to leave the party. I always get asked to leave the party.
Get out.
And that's the hard part. So I have to learn. Like, listen, my sisters are amazing at that. Like, I love that they have that talent. My friend Jeff has that talent. He was like, "This is not for me. I'm out." And I was like, "What?" And now he's wonderful.
Yeah.
They're all wonderful.
They're all wonderful,
My
yeah.
sisters have great jobs, but they knew this wasn't for me. My sister Rachel was like, this isn't for me. I'm going to find a new job. And I love that because I have the mentality that I stay until the very end.
Thank you.
And they're like, the lights are off. There's no furniture.
Nobody's
and I'm
here.
like, but we can still answer phones, right? Like,
look,
I'm trying to
He
find.
the
still wears
parking
his
lot.
pass card. He's like,
Yeah.
Look, I relate to that because it took an accident for me to have so much time on my hands to realize I don't want to go back.
right.
And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something fun, something creative. And the first thing that came to mind was this. So I understand that. I mean, that's who we are. We're too loyal.
Yeah.
We don't know when to bow out. And
I don't
sometimes
know.
we do, but it's like super,
too late.
super rare. Yeah.
Super
or it's
late,
too
too
late.
late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when to bow out. And I would like to open myself up to learn that more when it's time to bow out. Because I will beat that dead horse and beat that dead horse, and the poor horse is dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, I'm gonna take that. I love that for this roundtable discussion. That I will start saying things out loud. Bodyguard. So we're not done. Obviously, we have much more to talk about. We love Mr. Keira Knightley, and we're in a compound. We might as well make this 9 shows. So we are going to end it right there on a high note of what friendships think to us and how we've made friendships and how even our closest family can become our greatest friends.
Oh.
And so, well, not you, but Gina. But no, I'm kidding.
On that note,
I'm only kidding. No, but seriously, like, thank you all for being here on this show. I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate the drive out to Santa Paula.
it's a long drive from Toronto.
Yeah.
Very long.
It is a very long drive. I appreciate it all. I'm not taking any of this for granted. So everything that you said to me today is That was good. I really enjoyed that, and I will replay this episode, which I don't do often, but I will definitely replay this episode as long as he doesn't cut all of you out.
So how about
another
cheers to
thing.
friendship?
Cheers to friendship. Cheers. And on that note,
Yes.
thank you all for coming and saying hello to the bodyguard. Have a great week. And remember, it's always the right time. Oh, oops, I'm sorry.
Freudian slip there.
She got right back in there, didn't she?
She is not ready to leave.
Not here, Janet. Not today. So I'd like to say, remember, have a great week and to always do it like Danny.